if you're a fan of the Tampa Bay Bucs, if you're a fan of Tom Brady, or you're on the bandwagon pirate ship, 2020 for you is pretty much everything you could have hoped for your Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Acquiring Tom Brady in free agency after taking his talents from New England to Tampa, and then being joined by his old buddies Rob Gronkowski, who just won the 24/7 title in Tampa, coincidentally, and in WWE, and Antonio Brown after his escapades in 2019. And yes, the Tampa Bay Bucs had their struggles with some growing pains and chemistry issues, and Bruce Arians was not shy to say anything about that after some ugly losses, most certainly, especially to the New Orleans Saints. But the Bucs came together late in the season, came into the playoffs as the 5th seed, and man, they initially struggled at first, but they went on a run, beating the Washington football team, then beating the New Orleans Saints, sending Drew Brees into retirement, and then went into cold-ass Lambeau Field, upset the Green Bay Packers, and then, most importantly, became the first ever team to play the Super Bowl in its home stadium, host, technically, the Super Bowl at home, and put the lights out on Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. They humbled their asses. And Tom Brady went on to win another Super Bowl MVP, and the defense put the brakes on Mahomes, like big time performance from that Bucs defense. So throughout their offseason, it was a big one, really big one for them. They got all their starters back from that Super Bowl run. So not much needed to be done in the offseason except for some window dressing for the most part. So the Bucs seemed like they were going to run it back in 2021 for a potential repeat. And for Tampa Bay, it was pretty much like smooth sailing, pretty much. Like, aside from some back-breaking losses and some heart-pumping games, the Bucs pretty much coasted through this regular season relatively easy for the most part. Tom Brady still continued to defy Father Time, playing at a even higher level. Now that he had a full year to go through what Bruce Arians wants to output in his vertical air attack offense. And along the way, he managed to set some new records while winning games. That's how you properly do statistics, people. You have to do it while winning games. The stats don't always tell the story. The performance does. Okay? So anyway, helping out Tom Brady along the way was, of course, his supporting cast, both on the starting and reserve end. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Antonio Brown, and Gronk, along with the rushing attack of Leonard Fournette and Ronald Jones, all continued to round out one of the most dangerous yet efficient offenses in the NFL. Also helping Brady out was one of the best offensive lines in the NFL. You got a trio of Pro Bowlers in tackle Tristan Wirfs, center Ryan Jensen, and guard Ali Marpet. Protected Brady very well. Gave him all day to throw against the best of the best and the worst of the worst pass rushes. The defense also continued success from the Super Bowl run, netting consistent pressure, hits, and sacks on the quarterback. Secondary was kind of an issue with either injuries or just lapse in coverages. But Tom Brady bailed them out most of the time with his goodness. So hard to fault them on that. But there are a variety of reasons why they weren't able to repeat as champions. They had some pretty bad losses throughout the season to the LA Rams early. They also lost to the Washington football team midpoint in the season. And yes, they even lost to the New Orleans Saints again. Their kryptonite in the regular season is the New Orleans Saints, even if they didn't make the postseason. Like, somehow, some way, Tom Brady's kryptonite is the Saints, literally. So those 4 losses were pretty much what separated them and the Green Bay Packers from the NFC's top seed. And had it not been for the Rams' midseason slump, Tampa Bay could have been looking at themselves as the 3 seed and traveling to Los Angeles to the divisional. But, tiebreakers helped them out a little bit. They also had some starters either miss time throughout the season or be out of the season completely due to injuries, with Chris Godwin being the biggest hit with a torn ACL, pretty much affected the offense in a big way. And eventually, Tristan Wirfs got injured in the wildcard game against the Philadelphia Eagles, and then he couldn't play in the divisional game against the Rams with the ankle injury. And then, of course, there was also whatever Antonio Brown did against the New York Jets over what he was claiming playing through a severe ankle injury. So, yes, he was having that temper tantrum over that, like how legit, whatever was going on with settling that dispute between Bruce Arians, the Bucs, and Antonio Brown. Who knows at this point? So that he got released, and it affected the Bucs offense even more. So nonetheless, the Bucs clinched the NFC South pretty easily, and despite all the injuries, despite that distraction, they looked to get the repeat going as the number 2 seed. They easily disposed of the Philadelphia Eagles, but they were getting blown out early by the LA Rams in the divisional game. But 27-3 is a familiar number for Tom Brady at halftime, and he managed to come back like slowly but surely. And you got like literally over 30 seconds left, 27-all. Tom Brady put the lights out on offense with Mike Evans, not Chris Godwin, and pretty much just about everybody on offense. And all they need for the Bucs to get back in this game was one last stop on defense. But unfortunately, that was not to be, because Cooper Kupp got away enough for the Rams to get into field goal range and get that game-winning field goal and end Tampa Bay's hope of a repeat. So overall, I mean, it wasn't really a failed season for Tampa Bay, but a season that could have like gone better if things went a little bit their way, had it not been for all the injuries and some better drawn up plays on defense, and then there was whatever that was from Antonio Brown. So yeah, could have gone better, and at a point, and during the offseason, it could have gone a lot worse because, well, as we all know, Tom Brady announced his retirement a week after they lost. And then here we are 2 months later. The boy is back. He was like, nope, fuck family life. Fuck taking my kids to school. I'm going to play another season of football. So Tom Brady is back in the NFL after telling retirement and family life to go fuck itself for right now. And he's going to be playing at least another season of football. And the Bucs are going to be trying again in 2022. So in terms of their offseason right now, as they entered it, they had around $3 million of cap space, so not really much to spend. And, they had pretty much some in-house needs to clean up. So the likes of Chris Godwin, Jason Pierre-Paul, Ryan Jensen, Ndamukong Suh, Leonard Fournette, and Ron Jones, Carlton Davis, a lot of like really key names that had expiring contracts coming up. So some of their key moves in the offseason right now, well, the biggest one being, well, they got Tom Brady back, so they didn't need to be looking for a quarterback or hope that Kyle Trask turned into something. They also got Chris Godwin, Ryan Jensen, Leonard Fournette, and Carlton Davis back to a couple of slightly long-term deals. They also got Shaq Mason from the New England Patriots via trade. So, yeah, Bill Belichick kind of helping out his buddy there, Tom Brady there. So, with the offensive line. And they also got a somewhat other weapon in Russell Gage from, well, guess who? The division rival, the Atlanta Falcons. So, yeah, some crazy stuff piling up for Tampa Bay. It's the Tom Brady effect in going on. So right now, the Tampa Bay Bucs, after some restructuring, after some extensions, they have around $9 million to spend. So they got a little bit of a bump. So enough for whatever they're gonna do in the draft. So they're slated to pick number 27th in the NFL draft this coming April, and something that they could address. And it's not many, but they could add some depth to the running back room. So behind Leonard Fournette, it's not really pretty. Ronald Jones is now in Kansas City, and they need to reset that rotation. Keyshawn Vaughn was middling at best. But do you really want to go into a like backup rotation that only has Keyshawn Vaughn in it and nobody else like semi decent in case Leonard Fournette gets hurt? Really? Just consider that. They can also consider getting some more help at wide receiver. Sure, they have Chris Godwin. They already have Mike Evans. They have Russell Gage, but I mean, sure, he had one good season, but you know, who knows if he pans out to anything else. So it doesn't hurt to add some more depth to the receiver position, especially when you have a quarterback like Tom Brady. So, you know, for the Bucs, they looked well on their way to repeating as world champions in 2021, considering how relatively smooth they were sailing throughout the regular season. But, you know, they also had some bad losses at the same time, some badly timed injuries as well, that pretty much became preventing measures that eventually not even Tom Brady would overcome. Still, they have Brady back for 2022 after a very brief retirement, and sure, they only lost a few key pieces to their championship core. And despite that, though, the NFC is considerably much weaker. Russell Wilson now in Denver. Who else is left? I think that's pretty much the big name that has gone out of the NFC, but the NFC is pretty much weaker. And Tom Brady is pretty much back in the fold in what can be a easier NFC for the taking for Tampa Bay. So as long as Tom Brady's in the fold, 2022 could present the Bucs chance to give Tom Brady perhaps a proper retirement gift in the form of another Super Bowl run, and perhaps another Super Bowl ring.